Watch the ride.
Hey everybody, so I'm at Haslemere Motorcycles again. Today I'm going to be taking out this Mash TT40 Cafe Racer. This isn't actually old, this is a relatively new bike. I'll tell you more about Mash in a minute, but just check this out. This is going to be so much fun. I'll let it warm up a little bit. Let's get going. So to my understanding, Mash is basically it's a French company, I think, but the bikes are made in China, and I believe the people who import them into the country are actually the same people who import Peugeots. Okay, so as you know, I'm 6'4", so the riding position on this is very lent over for me. Not uncomfortably so, but it's much more than it would be. I really am sort of tucked right up. But I just love the experience of being able to ride bikes like this. Like if you remember before now, I took out that Bonneville that Haslemere had done work to and turned into a Cafe Racer, and I absolutely loved it. And obviously this is in a very sort of similar vein. And okay, yeah, I know these sorts of bikes can attract hipsters, if I want to say that word. But for me, it's more about experiencing what it used to be like. Like, okay, yeah, this isn't actually an old bike. Things are slightly different, but it's an experience. And to me, these oddball bikes are absolutely way more interesting to take out than some, you know, brand new 1000cc sports bike, blah, blah, blah. It just, you know, everyone's kind of knows what to expect to them. There isn't a huge amount of variation. Yeah, some are good, some are bad, but they're all relatively okay. But this is something completely different. It's a completely different style. Trying to tuck down behind the screen. So this is a 400, but it actually, you may or may not know, I own a DRZ 400 SM. It's actually a 440, but this is doing 70 way more comfortably than that because it's got such long gearing. I can't say you'd want to sit on the motorway for a long time doing this. But it's very comfortable, very well, not to say comfortable, look what my knees are. Oh, there's a lot of diesel. Smelt that before I saw it. It's got this very mechanical, rumbly feel about it. Like, compared to, you know, some 600,000cc bike, this is not smooth. It vibrates, it rattles, it makes little noises. The engine's not particularly quiet. You know, it's actually got a lot of mechanical sounds going on there, and that reminds me very much of my DR, because those engines, single cylinder, you know, 4 strokes, just, they tend to be, because they have a lot of mass going around, a bit vibrating. Probably do with a bit more of an open exhaust, but I can sit up straight if I fingertip the throttle. I shouldn't be surprised, but it's got a load of low down torque. Like, it feels like I'm in a really high gear, but it's got grunt there. And the engine braking is immense. These bikes new are about £5,000, so they are actually sort of not cheap, as it were, because there's a lot of other 400s and things in the A2 category you can get for that sort of money. I mean, this looks nice as it is, but I imagine that you could, if you really went all out, spent some time on it, you could make one of these look amazing. It's such a good base is what I'm trying to say. Now, with the progression that Chinese bikes have made in the past 10, 15 years, mostly the past 10 years, is pretty incredible. Not all, but companies like Lexmoto that have really pushed to improve things. People naturally say to me, well, when are Chinese brands going to make some larger CC bikes? And they are working on it. They tried it in the past, it didn't really work, and they're like, no, okay, we've learned our lessons, let's go back to the drawing board and start again. I mean, Mash has done it here, but this isn't as cheap as like what people consider Chinese bike costs. This is full brand type costs. Is that oil? Is there oil on these corners? I hope it's not. So what I mean about the low down torque, it's just got loads of it. It makes it very sort of calm. And people say, what do I think is going to happen in the future? Will we see large CC Chinese bikes? Yes, I think it is pretty much inevitable that the Chinese companies are going to produce some larger CC bikes, starting with the A2s, definitely. Because they've kind of got the 125s kind of nailed, like to push on for power and stuff a little bit, but, you know. But I do believe, without question, that in the same way that the Japanese bikes came in when the British bikes were big and everyone said, you know, oh, well, Japanese is rubbish, and they said the exact same stuff's about to say about the Chinese bikes, and now it's, you know, they've proven themselves to be the better bikes. It's the same things happening with Chinese. So yes, in my opinion, to answer the question that people ask me, yes, I do think the Chinese companies are going to produce larger CC bikes, and they are going to take a market share, because you can hate them all you want, but when something does pretty much everything that the competitor does, they're actually all rightly built nowadays, and they cost, you know, maybe a quarter less, people are going to buy them. They just will. And I think they'll end up taking a market share. I don't know how much, I don't think it's going to be a huge market share, but, you know, even if they got 20-25% of the market in the sort of A2 range, that's a lot of bikes. That is a lot of bikes. And that's just talking about England. That's not talking about, you know, the rest of the world. But anyway, I didn't really want to talk about Chinese bikes in this video. It's just, it happens to be one, it's a larger CC, and I know that question's going to get asked. So now I can just get on with a, was it a wing mirror with a stick shoved through it? What the heck? Don't question these things. I'm loving this thing though. I don't know what it is. It's something about that low down power, the not revving it a lot. You're just very calmly and smoothly using the engine. And the way that it flows from corner to corner. It's better at going slower, is what I find these bikes. I found the exact same thing with that Triumph. Yeah, they can go faster, but they feel so nice just going at a slower, relaxed pace. Yeah, honestly, the exhaust note is large 125, but still muffled a bit. It's actually not the easiest bike to ride, like, because of the way that you're sat, it's quite different from normal bikes, so it's not a natural feeling to get into it, but I feel like I've got some memory from when I first rode a bike like this, with this sort of very length. Well, it's kind of like sports bike style, but it's still different because it's got such big wheels. Bigger than 17s, I think they're like 19s. Definitely gives the front a different feel. They are bigger wheels, I'm sure of it. But we'll have a look at that in a minute. We'll find someone to pull over. I actually like this red. I'm not really a big fan of red bikes because they always go for a really nasty red, but this is that sort of darker candy red. It's quite nice. I quite like it. Okay, let's go. God, you really have to work this engine to get any great speed out of it. It's all about the slower down stuff. But where this vibrates and you can hear things rattling around, it just feels so much more of an event to just... It's got so much throttle throw as well, like between closed throttle and open throttle. It feels like you have to let go of it and keep twisting it again. As you can tell, I don't care whether this is made in China or whether it's a little hipstery or anything like that. I love this bike. This is a fun, nice bike to ride. Now that is not to say I'd necessarily want to own one. I wouldn't want this as my daily commute, you know. This is a perfect, I think, as a second bike for weekend. Very much like my DRZ's used. You know, it's used for fun, shorter rides, not the everyday workhorse. I'm sure you could, but your spine would probably not be too pleased about it. This'll do. Let's give it a little look over. Let my back recover a bit. Right, where's neutral? There it is. Side stand. Oh, that's the most inaccessible side stand I've seen in my life. Where was the tab for it? They put a tab on the side stand for your heel, but they've hidden... Oh, hang on. No, you've got to lift up the peg, then... Ah, yeah, there you go. That's the ticket. Okay, so the frame... I mean, it's going to hold together. It's not the best welding in the world, but to be honest with you, that's not the worst I've seen. Especially on parts of bikes that they like when it's undercover, under fairings and stuff. Like, we don't need to worry about it being so good there. I know this does kind of fall into the hipster category of bikes, doesn't it? Because it's actually not old. It's trying to look old. It's got a brown seat. It's just, you know, but that doesn't matter to me. This is a very basic bike. That is one. It's very mechanical. Although it has got ABS and might be fuel injection. I'm pretty sure that's fuel injection. Okay, ignore the fact that this bike has got ABS and electronics and stuff. It feels very mechanical. It feels old and clunky, and that's not clunky as in not well made and not clunky as in no tolerances, but clunky as in it has mass. As in it's like it's built of a big piece of metal and it just works. It's not heavy by any means. Let me do the real test. People do that, actually. Yeah, that feels light. Like, yeah, of course it does. Lean it over. Actually find out how heavy. No, actually, it's got a bit of heft to it, but it's not ridiculous. Okay, what size are these wheels? 18s, but they've got high sidewalls, so they're big ass wheels. Obviously, you've seen the controls very close this whole time. It's completely standard. I don't know how I feel, honestly, about making a bike look retro like this and giving it nice clocks, you know. And they're just hidden in a little digital display. It's like, it's not too in your face. But then they've put modern plastic things on, and it's like, could you have not done something a little different? But then maybe they're like, no, it is what it is. It looks old, but it's not old. You know, this isn't, you know, this isn't, just because this is in this shape doesn't make it any different from a modern tank. Okay, just because this cap looks like an old cap, it's actually lockable like any normal fuel cap, rather than, you know, you just take it off. You know, standard front forks. Okay, yeah, they look classic and old, but they also have to be exactly what's on a lot of 250s and A2 star bikes. This bike has only done 1,400 miles. Why? That is a very ominous looking sky. Obviously this is second hand, it will be up for sale in Haslemere, as far as I know. I don't know how much for. As I say, if you're looking for a fun bike that isn't your daily commuter, I think this is not, I would never advise this as a daily commuter to someone unless your commute is 10 miles, 15 miles, maybe 30, depending on your height and stuff. But as a fun weekend bike for just being able to go for a ride and stuff, this is lovely. Just thinking, I must look quite interesting to people riding what looks like a classic old red Cafe Racer while wearing, I suppose black jeans and a leather jacket is pretty classic, but an Icon variant helmet with a mirrored visor is quite different. But then maybe that's the thing, maybe we are a perfect pair, me and this bike. We are that combination of new and old. Yes, I'm part of the new thing, I'm not old. Although I am very much the oldest thing about any of this that's going on underneath me. Now that is how you dress. Tricorn hat, breeches, the lot. Must be this bike is taking me back in time. But he's got an iPhone in his pocket. See? New and old. New. Yeah, it's kind of funny. This has got that sort of feel of a very powerful bike that just rumbles along at slower speeds. You know, it's all in reserve. But actually it hasn't. It's just a 429 brake horsepower. And we are back at Haslemere. Before the rain hit. Getting that side step. Why would you do that? Oh, my spine. Okay, well, what my lovely patrons are going up the side of the screen here. Thank you very much for your support. If you want to be able to private message me, see videos 3 days early, or just help me produce content, then there are ways to support this channel. Patreon being one of them, Spice 110 Metalworks being another one. Hint, hint. Why is it 110 Metalworks? But yeah, my thoughts on the Mash. It is more than the sums of its parts, basically. Yes, it's not the best made thing in the world. It is very basic. It is a very basic frame, a very basic engine, just a very basic bike. But because of its sort of raw, mechanically vibratey, lumpy, non-ideal, are those even centralised? Oh, they are. Okay, sorry. You know, old schooly kind of feel. I love it. I really do. It's just, I get it. I get that, you know, some people say, oh, it's a complete hipster bike. Why would you choose that over anything else? Things are so much better than that. But it's like, yeah, it's because they're better that you kind of want this instead, if you know what I mean. It's about riding. It's not about ultimate performance. It's not about stuff like that. And it's not even the best riding bike. But there's something about the characteristics of the way that it rides that, to me anyway, just kind of, it's wholesome. It's old school. It's not about the speed. It's about just enjoying the road. And if you're on a 1000cc sports bike, there's, you know, it can do 100 miles an hour in first or second, definitely. You know, it's barely trying. This isn't struggling, but it's something different about its approach, if you know what I mean. It's not. It's something different, and it's something I appreciate. As I say, I don't know what Mashes are like much more than that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. If you enjoyed this video and the other content on the channel, please consider following the links in the description to show your support.